We started off the year in a different fashion. We were waiting to see how the year was going to even unfold given the COVID situation. I think we all were somewhat hesitant to know what we were getting into in those first couple weeks of school. So we started off with all of our choir classes playing ukulele, and we spent about 8 weeks, close to 9 weeks, just kind of developing individual musicianship and just trying to grow ourselves as people who love music. And as we started approaching that second 9 weeks, it was like, okay, I think we're ready to try this. We talked with administration to see if we could, be able to sing. And even given the protocols and the ADH guidelines that we've been given, we started out with the idea of let's stick to something that's very dear to our hearts and dear to our mission as a school with some praise and worship songs. And so I put together a packet of just several kind of songs that either had texts that really spoke to me, or maybe the music was something I knew was familiar with the kids and something they might get into. And we just kind of started singing through some of those, and it was kind of half like, hey, this is neat to be singing praises to God, and then half like, can we hear each other with masks on, distance throughout a pretty dry acoustic auditorium, and just figuring that out together. And then ultimately we were like, you know what? Let's put something on the calendar. Let's turn this into something. Let's set a date for a recording night where we can start to really work towards something and a culmination of these songs that we feel like are speaking to us and that can speak to other people and bless other people. So that's what we did. I think they were glad that, like, hey, this is something that we can put on our calendars and say we're working toward this thing. And I don't think I've ever truly appreciated how much it means to have something that it's going to culminate to.
When Mr. K told us about the concert, I was very excited. Having that made me more motivated in choir. It was just fun. I mean, it was just nice to have a group of students doing something other than school together for the school, so it was nice.
Halfway through the semester, he kind of told us that we'd be able to sing finally, and that in itself was already exciting. We got to sing in choir, and at first we kind of thought, okay, we'll be able to sing, but we won't be able to perform for anybody because we can't gather people. He kind of brought up to me after choir one day, he told me to stay after class and brought up the idea to me and the other leadership, and he said, like, how do you guys think it would go over with a lot of the the parents and the other people in choir? And we all thought that it would be great, and everyone was really excited about it.
We're thankful that the ADH and came up with COVID protocols that allow us to do this activity still. Thankful for the opportunity to still be able to sing, but it is difficult. We've had moments where I'll be like, tenors, can you please tune that with the altos? And they're like, we can't hear the altos. And I'm like, really? Like, you can't hear them at all? They're like, yeah, we can't hear them at all. And so it's made some things that would have just been like this, right? In a normal year, like, hey, let's fix that. Boom. Okay, cool. All right, let's move forward. Now it's like, it's like this grand puzzle that we're having to figure out, how do we even make this work? And I'm so proud of the kids for being patient with that process, for sticking with it, for giving it their best, and trying to, in many ways, just make the best of a tough situation.
Singing in the masks was such a big issue, and having to project and all these little things, but we really got it together and everyone really put in the work to do that, so it was really exciting.
In here, we got so used to the wearing mask and distance, and it's not the greatest acoustics in the auditorium, but we kind of made it work. But going to the atrium, it's like absolutely life-changing, because it's just you can actually hear yourself and everyone else finally, and yeah, it was very, very different and better. So
we've had to stay minimum 6 foot distance. In our auditorium, the way that we kind of taped off chairs, we're about 7 feet distance at a minimum between every single singer. We're rehearsing in a very acoustically dry environment where it is hard to hear. It doesn't really culminate. You can't really hear it bouncing off the walls when we rehearse. We even separated our rehearsal schedule to where at first we were only having 1 rehearsal a week with everybody there. It was just guys on certain days, girls on certain days, because we needed that kind of part learning time. And then we've now built up to a point where we're having more all-together rehearsals. We had to schedule it in such a way that we would not spend more than 30 minutes in any single facility. So we had a 30-minute rehearsal window. That was the very first time that our 9th graders have ever sung with the 10th through 12th graders. And we had 30 minutes to say, hey, will this work? Can we do this together? And we honestly didn't even have time for introductions of who was who. It was like, we've been working on this separately. We're gonna put it together. Boom, here we go.
To you.
put all the tape squares down and I labeled them soprano, alto, tenor, bass. And basically we just had to go by section, find a piece of tape that has your section letter on it, stand there, and then Chopper, set up his microphones and his video equipment, and we got everything rolling, and it was like, here we go, let's make it happen.
Being in the atrium, I was a little apprehensive. It's a challenge in a pandemic to do things well and to be successful with things, especially with a mask on with choir. But then when the students started to sing, you're like, wow, this sounds great. Like, this sounds just as good as it would without masks. Like, everybody was just in sync, and Mr. K just did a tremendous job of just getting people zoned in. All the protocols were followed, which made me feel happy. But then after that, it was just like you were just in a moment, just like a spiritual moment of people just praising God together, and it was just so awesome to see.
Being in the atrium, you can hear everybody. And with the masks on, it's so hard to hear everybody. So when we got all together, we could just hear each other, and it was like, oh my goodness, these songs actually sound so good. It was like, wow. So it was really awesome.
The amount of things stacked against you being able to pull off a performance that you feel really great about, I mean, it's there. And I can honestly say, I think these kids overcame that.
We got in there, everyone was in the zone, everyone was like, okay, it's time to do this, and we did it. It was the best we'd sung all year for sure.
Being able to come into choir at the end of every day, it's like a breath of fresh air. Like, I can just relax and sing and worship. And so, especially having that in the atrium, it was just kind of like this moment where I could just be there and just worship God. And it was just really nice to have that moment.
Even during this time, we still, we can still do some normal things, and that we still have hope to do normal things. And we sing some great songs of worship, and that we've remained faithful and strong under God during this time.
It really hit home for me. I don't know if it was just like a culmination of hard work and seeing that in the kids. There's so much satisfaction for me seeing our teachers succeed and our kids just succeed so well in what they do, and then just hearing the end product. And there's a personal side to it. A couple of the songs have really hit hard for me and my wife. That it's a song that we had at our wedding, and just hearing it again, it was like angelic, and it was just like, whoa, like full circle. Yeah, it really it caught me off guard, but in such a wonderful way.
We scaled back in difficulty. We focused on things that we felt like were messages that we really wanted to sing and pour our hearts into, and for those things to be the words that are coming out of our mouths on a regular basis when we're singing. But I think it's glorifying to God. I think it reminds us of what our purpose is, and I'm glad we did it.